Now I see the light at the end of the tunnel. This is my way through. Now all I gotta do is pay attention and be intentional. Yeah, yeah.
Hello, 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 hello. Thank you so much for coming again to listen to the second episode of My Way Through. How I sang my way through. I am Mayowa Oyinloye, also known as MJPRAISE or Mayowa Just Praise. I hope you learned something from the last episode. I know it was a testing period, but I'm sure you learned something. And thanks so much for all the encouraging words, the feedbacks, the reply. I hope I'll get better and better so you keep on coming every time. So, straight to the point. Today's topic is never, ever limit yourself for whatever reason. If you've got the conviction, then just like I said before, you run with the baton. You run with it. Never ever limit yourself. Don't you ever despise the days of little beginning, because that is your learning process. That is the learning experience for you. That is where it is you will make the mistake, so you don't make the mistake when you've grown bigger and larger. Okay, never ever despise days of little beginnings. Appreciate it, embrace it. And there is something also, those that have helped you going up, never ever take them for granted. Acknowledge them. Days of little beginnings, they are the days of your humble beginnings. See that season as your trial and error phase, your school of life, where you've made your mistakes and learned from it, where you can stand with confidence and say that, see, I've gone through this, I've learned from it, I made my mistakes, I failed, I know how it is, I've learned from it, I can make myself better at it. It might be that you're not ready for that experience or for that project at that particular time. And that process, just like I said, is for you to learn how to better yourself. The concert I organized, because it's a big part of my life. The first one I ever did, I'd never ever organized an outdoor music concert before, ever in my life. But for some odd reason, the conviction was so strong. It was so strong. But with confidence, I wrote to the council and I told them, I wrote a proposal. I said, see, I want to organize this concert. I have no clue how it's going to happen, but I just want to do it. But I was scared. I was scared to go ahead with it. I made myself really vulnerable, actually, because I let them realize that I was naive regarding this. I was a novice when I in the process of putting this on. Because I didn't want to go out there to feel that, oh yes, I know everything, then I make mistakes. Which is absolutely fine, because today's episode is all about making mistakes. But learning from those mistakes, not falling victims to our mistakes. Instead, learning from there to better ourselves, to make ourselves better, and to also encourage other people coming from behind you that, see, because you failed doing this thing doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. See it as something positive. See it as a tool to make yourself go further in life. I remembered when I was living in London before moving down to Gillingham, Kent. That is like the outskirts of London. For those that don't know where this is, you can Google it or something. Gillingham, Kent. I was living in London, close to Shooters Hill, Woolwich, and I wanted to move to Gillingham, Kent. I had no clue. I knew nobody here. I had lots of bad reviews about Gillingham, Kent, and I was like, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? But then I moved down to Gillingham, and I just felt this conviction again that there was something missing in Gillingham. And for some odd reasons, I wrote to the Anglican churches in the area. Although I'd never been to any Anglican church before, but I just felt that inkling to write to them that, hello people, there is a gospel artist in town. She can sing. Just to let them know that yes, I'm here and I'm ready to help in whatever way. Unfortunately, I didn't get much feedback. I think only one church actually replied to me back. Which was obviously, yeah, thank you, no thanks, we are okay. But 7 years later, God opened the doors for me to actually be employed part-time as a gospel plant leader in a church of England, the first of its kind. The first of its kind. Now, between those 7 years, I didn't just relax. I still went. I still did what it is I could do with the little it is I had with me. With my talent, I didn't have much, but I experienced, I learned from my mistakes. I worked with my mistakes. When you've learned from your mistakes, then success becomes easy peasy. Success becomes achievable. Success becomes attainable. It becomes easy. Failure is actually a great tool to achieve success. Wait, don't crucify me here. Let me explain. So, failure is great and encouraging tool to achieve success. I know this sounds like an oxymoron, but with failure, it's either you've learned from your past failures, you've learned from it, and you're working hard in order not to fail. You are working hard not to fail. Or the other way, you wallow in your failure. You wallow in self-pity. You're like, oh my God, I failed. The world is against me. It's everybody's fault but mine. No. Failure can actually be used as something positive, but it is your choice on how it is you use failure. What narrative are you giving to failure? Are you blaming everybody else apart from you? Or are you learning from that failure yourself? Hard work, consistency, and being true to yourself and your calling is pertinent in this case. Hard work. Don't let nothing discourage you. Be your own cheerleader. Don't let nothing discourage you. There is something I actually took away from not having a feedback when I moved to Gillingham and route to the Anglican churches that, I'm here, I'd like to be, supporting any way it is I can with singing. The truth of that matter is that if I had been contacted and if they'd reached out to me and had gone, there is definitely without a shadow of doubt that I would have failed woefully. I would have messed myself up. That is getting to know how the Anglican Church actually runs now. Just a teensy-weensy bit that I know about the Anglican Church. I haven't been a part of it for the past 11 years. If I had gotten that feedback before I got employed, I would have failed woefully. But God molded me. He used me. I made some failures. I made some mistakes. And He molded me. And now I'm using those mistakes to better myself. I would have debarred myself from enjoying lots of opportunities it is I am enjoying now. And that is what happens when you overstep. If you run more than your shadow at times, you might miss opportunities. You might miss opportunities won't pay you. So you have to be able to discern properly. Be able to discern properly. Make sure that your intentions are right. Make sure that your goals are right. Make sure that you're not trying to compete with people. No, listen to me. Aspirations, it's actually fantastic. It's good to aspire towards something. It's good to look up to people. But when you do things in a place of, I can do better than them, I got better, which, to be quite honest with you, I've fallen victim of that a lot. And do you know what? In future, it will still happen to me. But I try to quickly snap out of it. To say that, okay, that is their calling, that is their life, that is their destiny, and they are running with it. Why don't I focus on my own destiny? Why don't I focus on my own future and work in it, instead of salivating and slobbering over somebody else's life? Now, starting with the little it is you have in your hand will require for you to reach out for support, to ask for help. So don't be too proud or hesitant to ask for support from those that you know can help you. And I say this passionately because I have also fallen into that a lot. I find it very difficult to ask people for help. I'll rather run myself to the ground than ask for help. But that is one of the things God has actually put in me, that everything it is I do, I have no choice but to ask for help. I have no choice but to talk to people. I have no choice but to be friendly. And do you know what? It is the best. It is the best than me being a hermit and just hiding away in the four corners of my house. I'd rather wallow in my mysteries and uncertainties. I'll struggle unnecessarily rather than seek help. But it all started to change as soon as I learned how to reach out to people. That's how I know that people genuinely care for me. And I know that they are not focused on me or me being indebted to them. And that is one of my concerns, that if people should do things for me, then I'll have to be indebted to them for life. I'll have to do favors for them for life. But God has been so faithful to me that those that God has actually raised up to support me are those that are actually doing it because they enjoy what it is they do. They do it passionately. They do it for the good of humanity. And I know they love me, right? You love me, right? That's why you help me out. Yes, but they do it for the good of humanity. Now, all my successes can be attributed to my faith and hard work. Although I always say that God will not come down himself to answer your prayers, but how cool will that be if he actually did come down to help you? Oh my God, that would be so cool. But he will choose and use a fellow human like you, a person that has no ulterior motive. They want nothing else back from you. They want nothing else back from you. I've suffered a lot with low self-esteem because of the abuses I actually went through. So lots of low self-esteem. But coming out of my shell now, realizing the freedom it gives to me is actually fantastic. So asking for help is not the end of the world at all. Ask for help. Look out for how it is you can also help and support people, not just asking for help. Look for how it is you too can help and support other people. Whenever you can, remember to acknowledge those who supported you. I know that you can't possibly acknowledge everybody. I forget a lot at times to appreciate some people that I've actually supported. But do you know what? Even if you remember 1 out of 1,000,000 people, at least they know that you have a heart of gratitude. Remember to acknowledge those who supported you. Appreciate when you can. Sometimes it's not always easy to do this because God actually brings some people into our lives for a reason and for a season. And as soon as they've achieved that purpose in your life, they disappear. But don't you ever feel indebted to these people or to anybody actually. Don't ever feel indebted to people. Now, without I'm trying not to sound self-serving now, but one of the things God let me realize that the way people they come together to support is because I try to put myself out there to support other people too. Be ready to be a source of support to others too. You can't just keep expecting to receive without planning to impact lives with what you have. I go for ministrations lots of times. I don't even ask for nothing. Sometimes I barely get even fare for my travel fare. I'm not saying that it is right, but that is my own way of saying, of giving back, if you can call it that. To say that, okay, this is my way of giving back to this organization or giving back to this ministry. When I say support, I'm not saying give money or give anything materialistic, because it's not every time you'll be able to afford that. But even if you give your services, whatever it is you can do, even if being there for people alone is more than enough support, try to look out for people that you can support. During COVID, I tried as much as possible to still keep things running. It is I was doing. Everything it is I was doing, I had to move everything online. Even the outdoor concert it is we did, I actually did it online. I didn't miss those years that we were locked up. I still featured it, streamed it online. Now, the difficulty was that it was difficult to get somebody to help with the streaming. We had no clue, and I'm sure some of us listening to this will be like, yes, we're on the same boat with you. We had no clue on how to stream this thing online. And those that we know could help were like, oh, we're not available, but then they made it look like a mountainous task that we had to embark on. That before you do this thing, you'll have to have like this kind of laptop that had all these specs to it and all that, and it was like, oh my God. Now hear this. The night before we were meant to go live, one of my aunties, shout out to Auntie Karen, she just reached out and said, okay, what's going on? And she put us through this thing. And thankfully, my husband is also techie, but you never know that you'll need all those things. When COVID happened, everything just happened, snap like that. And thankfully, we were able to stream the concert live with the help of my husband and Auntie Karen putting us through. The mayor actually streamed it, joined in from his own house too. How cool is that? But we didn't stop there. What my husband did, was that they put it out there that if you are also struggling with this, we are here to support you free of charge. Up till today, as I speak, 2023, my husband still helps organizations, he still helps churches to help stream things online. He still does it for nothing. So, from not having a clue on how to embark on this journey of streaming things online, to now being a source of support to other organizations, to other ministries. That is awesome. So if you can do that, that is actually great. Sometimes things get hard because it's meant to be a learning process for you. I've always learned something, that God wants you to grow. Because if you grow, you grow. But if you jump, what happens? You come down. You come down with a bang, or you might even hurt yourself. But God is a God of the season. He makes you grow. He learns from it. God is not a magician. He is a miraculous God, but not a magician. He wants you to learn from your mistakes, from your failure, so you can be confident when you're faced with similar things in future, and you're able to encourage others too, so they don't fall into the same mistakes. So be aware of the situation when you are going through it. Be aware. And don't get me wrong, I understand that situations differ. I can't compare you losing a loved one to you losing a house. They are different things. But do you know what? Ask that, what do you want me to learn from this? What message can I learn from this mess? Ask that you want to be aware. I've learned that, God, I want to be aware. What are you trying to tell me? So that when I go through that, I am able to encourage other people coming from behind me that, see, it looks difficult now, but don't worry. All shall be well. We know lots of people that have gone through lots of storms in their lives, and at the end of the day, they open the foundation, trying to support people, being a source of inspiration, being a source of support to other people too. Now, I'm not saying ignore the emotional turmoil you might be going through. Acknowledge the emotional turmoil you are going through, but don't wallow in it. Don't wallow in it. Don't stay in it. Move on. And I'm not saying move on in a place of, oh yeah, forget about it. That's another topic for another day, actually. I don't want to go into that now. But just say that. Don't let it affect your life. Don't let it affect your future successes. Don't let it affect your other relationships. Don't let it affect your other experiences. Don't wallow in it. Now, trust me, I know how easy it is for you to fall into this kind of predicament. When I got married and we had our first child, a girl, and because of what happened to me, the abuses I went through, I couldn't even leave our daughter with our dad. I will always take her with me to the bathroom when I'm having my bath or using the toilet, even whilst our dad was at home with us, because I didn't trust nobody with her. But with time, I was able
to relinquish a bit of responsibility. And thankfully, my husband knew, just like I said, he was the first person I ever talked to about the abuse it is I went through. And I was able to understand. That is why sometimes it's good to talk about what it is you're feeling, what it is you've gone through, so that those around you will understand you. Now, that doesn't mean that it's an excuse for you to act in an unsavory way. No. I'm not saying indulge in some negative things, but it will make people understand you more, so that when you act this way, they understand that, we know that this is because of this and that. I'm not saying take advantage of that. Do you get me? And the most disheartening thing, which almost affected the relationship between myself and my daughter, is that when she started growing up, she would dress up herself, even if she should leave the door ajar a bit or not pull down the curtain or anything, I just go mad. And she would look at me, what is wrong with this woman? But now she knows everything it is I've gone through, and she was able to understand. I mean, that is no excuse for me to treat my daughter like that. But I'm just letting you know that it is easy for you to let the situation it is you've gone through affect the way it is you relate with people. And that is why some victims or some survivors of abuse don't live a productive life. That is just the plain truth. And I would have easily fallen into that stereotype itself if I didn't have an understanding husband. Okay, so that's why it's good to carry people along. It's not the end of the world what it is that has happened to you. If you think that, it's only me that it has happened to, I'm ashamed of it. No, don't make it yours. And you should start by calling it the abuse, not my abuse. Whatever it is you've gone through, you have to call it the uncertainty, not my uncertainty. Okay? Because you've been created for a purpose, and don't let any situation take that away from you. And it takes great intentionality and purpose for you to do some things. You've got two choices: either to wallow in your misery, not your misery, in the misery, or say that, no, I'm going to rise above this. I am going to better myself. I am going to make my life worthwhile. I know I've been created for a purpose, and the devil says that, and is trying everything in his power to let you derail from achieving that purpose. Okay? Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I'm not saying I don't make mistakes or I won't make mistakes. And trust me, I still fight my demons of going through abuse every day, because there is something that just triggers the memories, the flashbacks. But I never ever let it dictate my life. So please, don't let your past dictate your present or your future. You are literally the pilot of your life, with God helping you.
So please, never ever despise the days of your little and humble beginnings. Enjoy it. Learn from it. Be confident with it. Run with it. And be a source of inspiration to other people too. Till I come over again next time, this is MJ Praise, or Mayowa Just Praise. Keep on being a source of inspiration to other people, and I will see you. Look out for my next podcast in the next 2 weeks. Remember to like, share. Yeah, it's going to be, I'm going to put it on YouTube too, on Facebook, on everywhere, so that you're able to share with whatever social media platform it is you are on. God bless you, and keep on being you. Stay true to yourself.
And thanks for all the questions you've asked. I will be answering the questions in the 4th episode, so that the questions from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd episode, I will bring it on board for the 4th episode and answer your questions. And if you'd like to support this podcast in any way, please get in touch with me. If you'd like to give a shout out to anybody or advertise your business, please get in touch with me. We have to keep this running, and I need funds to make it run, please. God bless you so much. It's been fantastic hanging out with you. Now I see the light at the end of the tunnel. This is my way through. Now all I gotta do is pay attention and be intentional. Yeah, yeah.